Today we're going to take what we have learned about solving equations and apply it to literal equations and formulas. So just being able to rewrite those equations or formulas for a particular variable. So in your interactive notebook, just have some examples that we are going to go through. So we have this formula. Okay, this is actually the P stands for perimeter, S stands for side. So here we're finding the perimeter of an equilateral triangle. But what the formula is for doesn't matter as far as what you need to do. So what we're seeing now is more than one variable. We have this variable P and we have a variable S. We want to solve this equation for S. So that variable S we want to get all by itself. So I need to get rid of the number 3 that's in front of the variable S. How do I get rid of that 3 in front of the variable? Ashton. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So P over 3, which can't be simplified, is equal to S. So we're still doing those same processes, showing that work on both sides of the equation to solve for the variable. Our next example, we have F equals M times A, and I want to solve that for M. So I want to get this M all by itself.
Divide by A.
So I'm going to divide both sides by A. And again, I can't simplify, so F over A equals M.
Wait, are you writing stuff down?
What? You should be writing those in your notes, yes.
Oh.
Okay, let's pay attention. Next, okay, we have our volume formula, length times width times height. So now we're starting to see more variables, but the process is still the same. I want to solve for L. So what do I need to do to get rid of the W and the H?
Divide by W.
Okay, I could divide by W. So V over W equals LH. Still wanting to get that L by itself? Ashton?
Could you just do divided by W and H?
Okay, we could go ahead and divide by both. If we didn't though, since we started just by doing the W, what am I going to do to get rid of the H?
Divide by H.
Okay, so how do I divide by H over on this side? I've already got a fraction. Okay, so dividing by H means we're multiplying by the reciprocal 1 over H. 1 times V is V. H times W is HW or WH. Put your head down. And you need to pay attention to what we're doing up here, please. Okay. So once we get that solution, we see that we could have from the very beginning, okay, because it's all multiplication. Okay. W times H, that's going to stay together. So we could have divided by WH at the beginning, and got that same answer. Next one, we have P equals A plus B plus C, and we want that B all by itself. So what are we going to do?
Subtract there.
Okay, so I can subtract A from both sides. And I have P minus A equal to B plus C. I want that B by itself, so I'm going to subtract C. So P minus A minus C equals B. Next one. We have L equals B times S plus W. And I want the letter S by itself. Kasha? Okay, just like when we have numbers, we start with the term away from the variable. Okay, so we're going to start with the
Is that an I or
W.
an L?
It's an L.
Okay.
So L minus W equals B times S. What's my next step?
Divide B.
Can you raise your hand, please?
Divide B.
Divide both sides by B. So L minus W all over B. So make sure your fraction bar goes all the way across. Equals S. Next one. A equals 1/2 times B times H. And I want to get that H by itself.
Divide by 1/2 understand?
Okay, so how do I divide by a fraction?
Just times it by half. Well, I mean, like, just like if you just take half of it to times by it. Like, so you have 5, and it's like 3.5 divided by half, right?
No. How do I get rid of, you said divide by 1/2. How do we divide by fractions? No, it's a fraction. We're not changing it to a decimal. Divide what? How do I divide by a fraction?
Reciprocal.
I multiply by the reciprocal. So if I'm multiplying by 2, I get 2A equals B times H. I want the H times, or by itself. So my last step,
Divide by B.
I divide both sides by B. So 2A over B equals H. Next one, V equals 1/3 B times H for H. So similar to what we just did before. Go ahead.
Times it by 3.
Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 3. So 3 capital V equals capital B times H. And then next step, divide by capital B. So our solution. Okay. So need to make sure, because when we're working with these formulas, whether it's a capital letter or a lowercase letter, means something different in the formula. Okay, so you need to use those same letters. Okay, don't take an uppercase letter and make it lowercase or vice versa. Last one. Anybody recognize what that formula is? Science.
Something about turning Celsius into Fahrenheit.
Okay, so this is Fahrenheit. Okay, 9/5 times the Celsius temperature plus 32. Okay, we're going to change it so it's solved for C, okay, which should also be a formula that you then have seen before. So if I want to get that C by itself, what do I need to do first?
Subtract 32.
I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. So F minus 32 equals 9/5 C. I want that C by itself. Okay, so I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, 5/9. Okay. Need to really be careful here, because this whole left side, F minus 32, has to be multiplied by 5/9. Okay. So I'm going to put that fraction 5/9 in front of my parenthesis. And that is my answer. Okay. I do not need to distribute it. Okay, I'm not having to work anything out. I just wanted to solve it for that other variable, for that variable C. So solving literal equations, or taking a formula and solving it for a different variable, same process as what we do when we're solving equations. Okay? There's actually less work to this, okay, because we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing on both sides, but we don't have a lot of calculations to do like we do with our numbers.